What's up, guys? So you've probably seen now um, our episode with beautiful Aileen. We had a wonderful conversation. If you haven't seen that yet, please go back and watch that episode. It's on Spotify and YouTube as of now. We are slowly building this to be on multiple other platforms as well. This episode is going to be partly a continuation of that episode. We're going to discuss what Aileen mentioned, and then we are going to talk about some updates in Israel and Palestine right now, and some other current events. It won't be too long of an episode today. It'll just be us mostly reflecting on what we learned from Aileen. Mo, what's up, man?
Not much, brother. How you doing?
Good, man. How's it? How's it over there? Is it cold?
It's going well. No, it's actually today got a little bit cold. The weather's been pretty good the last few days, but yeah, it's chilling. It's getting a little bit chilly now, so we're leading up to Halloween. Usually, it's pretty cold up here. So
Oh, you guys do that over there too? I didn't know that.
yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah, I hear
absolutely.
it's starting to spread like wildfire all over the world. Like Halloween used to be just between Canada and the States,
Yeah,
and now it's
yeah,
like going into Europe and everything.
yeah,
Uh, Europe like is Halloween for everyone else, just based on all the colonizations. I'm just kidding.
yeah.
All right.
A lot of
Cool.
ghouls, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me, we also posted a little snackable promo for the Alien episode on our Instagram page. Give us a follow, TBA podcast, official TBA podcast. As our Instagram. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're gonna do many more of these. But yeah, so what a wonderful human being
Right?
Aileen was, still is, and yeah, she brought a lot of perspective, I believe, to the whole situation, the crisis over there in Israel and Palestine.
I think
What
she
was
did.
what was your
Yeah,
takeaway?
yeah. You know, one of the things that I absolutely loved about sitting and speaking with Aileen is that there are a lot of preconceptions when it comes to everything that's going on, and one of the very incorrect preconceptions is that this is an issue that's divided along religious lines or national lines, and Aileen absolutely destroyed all of that, and it's something that you and I've been talking about quite a bit over the last few weeks, that this is an issue of humanity and not religion, not race, not ethnicity, none of that. This is a matter of humanity, and we're not dealing with even religious fervor, is what I believe. This is really just land grabs and opportunistic men who are looking to profit off of people's misery as usual. One of the most amazing things that I saw, that we saw that she was talking about was her experiences when she was in Israel, growing up with a father who was a proud Zionist and very much believed in what they were doing. And yet she, growing up in that environment, uh, was seeing something else, was seeing something different. And I think that's what we're seeing now. I'm seeing that people are changing over the last 3 weeks since um, this ongoing crisis of 75 years escalated yet again. What we've been seeing in the last few weeks is that because of social media, because of the fact that really the world is looking for a different way of doing things, that people are looking at this issue in a much more sophisticated way, right? I'd love to get your take on that. Like, are you seeing in you're in LA, traditionally, a very, very supportive, a lot of supportive communities, especially the Persian community, very supportive of Israel and what they're doing. What are you seeing in your area of the woods?
I I honestly I think the me specifically, as you already know, my situation is I'm getting, again, I hate to call these sides. There is no sides. There is it's just a humanitarian crisis right now. Um that Israelis and Palestinians are facing. Obviously, it's in
Yeah,
Gaza where the bulk of the attacks are happening, and the West Bank. Um, which debunks any lies these corrupt leaders are saying. You know, it's
Yeah.
about Hamas and well, Hamas is in the Gaza. Um, what's the West Bank have to do with it? And um, I think I've seen 100 too many children being dug out of rubbles, dead or alive, and it's just disgusting to me. And I kind of, you know me, I'm an optimist, and I love
Yeah.
to, be finding the glass half full on a lot of things. But obviously, there's no fucking glass with this.
Yeah.
The glass is shattered. Um, and there's no water. Speaking of which, there's when you cut off electricity, and I know this is not what you asked, but
Yep.
now I'm kind of going on a rant. But when you cut off electricity, you cut off the internet, which apparently they just connected it back on. Uh, you cut off water, like basic human needs, and then you go and record a message of warning for the Gaza residents to leave immediately. How are you expecting them to receive that message? Who are you fooling, us or yourself? Because it's not
Yep.
happening. It's. I don't care. I'm not even mentioning the person's name because it doesn't matter. It's 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 an old trick, and people have gone. And this is gonna come into what you asked. I think people have gone a lot more emotionally intelligent
Yeah.
um, since the revolution in Iran, I would say, and even before that. I think in general, since the pandemic, I could say people have really started to investigate for
Yep.
themselves and started to really research like what's really going on right now. Can from the virus to which I'm not doubting that COVID was not real. It was. I got COVID 3 times myself. I know it was real, and it's but
Stop licking door handles. What are you doing, my friend? Three
uh,
times.
I mean, I was trying to get the antibody, but I keep getting different
Sorry.
strands. It's fine. Um, yeah, old habits die hard. But yeah, COVID to now, then the revolution, and then now we got the Israel Palestine crisis. I feel like people are starting to be turned off by just
Mm.
what's said on TV and what's said on mainstream social media. It's just
Yeah.
like nah. It's like something doesn't feel right, and I think that's where I feel people are headed in LA and even
Yeah.
perhaps outside of LA. I know it was that way in Sacramento as well. It People are just like nah, and the beauty of it is that it's not just the younger people. It's starting to become like my parents
Yeah.
and your parents' generation. They're like, yeah, we like. They're starting to uh I guess in a way, for lack of a better term, they're swallowing their pride and they're like, yeah, we didn't get it right. 45 years for Iranians and 75 years of this occupation. And it's just people are like, meh. And I have great Jewish friends that are like, no, enough is enough. Why are we this is not Judaism and neither is it Islam. It's neither. Like it is people have awakened from these fables and lies that have been fed by the governments to continue to have the rich man's war, is what I heard recently it being called,
Yeah.
and it's exactly what it's called, rich man's war. But the middle class and the poor have to pay for it, and it's I think we're gonna go to a world revolution, man. I keep saying this. I know I've said it before. With every conversation I have with several people that have viewpoints that range across the board. One thing we all agree on is that humanity has to save itself.
Yep.
It's no longer about leaning on Democrats, Republicans as far as the states are concerned. Independent party is for sure where I'm headed. I'm no
Yeah.
longer voting for Democrats or Republicans. I think uh, they're both two evil sides of the same coin. and whoever is in office is just a puppet for whoever's behind the curtain. I wrote a post the other day. I said I think the real Wizard of Oz is a lot uglier than the when the curtain is pulled back than the fiction. So yeah, as far as LA, yeah, I think people are just, me and Wep, as you know, him and I
Yeah.
have our own podcast. Him and I talk a lot about this stuff, and it's just we like to complicate things, but we're starting to simplify it and realize, okay, let's just cut it off at humanity. And if humanity is being questioned, then something else is up, and people
Yeah.
are getting more open to looking inward and saying, okay, yeah, that's fucked up. If that was my kid, I would go to war too. You know.
Yeah.
So then it's like, then you realize, okay, once you see that, then it's like, oh, war isn't even the solution here. It never has been. We have to hold hands with each other and force these corruptions to get the hell out of Dodge and let a secular unifying uh, government. So that's
So
my take.
here's the thing. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I know I said it as well that this has very little to do with religion, but we should um we do need to say that religion is of course being used as the foil to get all this stuff done. And the religious language in everything that's being said um is is absolutely grotesque, is absolutely disgusting, right? And religion does play a role in this because a lot of those leaders are using religion in that sense. When you take a look at I got a message from a mutual friend of ours. And I didn't ask her if I could say her name, so I won't. But from a mutual friend of ours from your neck of the woods, and it was in response to a story that I had put up, and it was a protest or a gathering in Israel where essentially it was a far right movement gathering, and they were calling for death to all Arabs, get rid of all of them, cleanse the land, a lot of statements like that. And her response was, thankfully that's not how the majority think.
Yeah.
And I agree, that's definitely not how the majority of regular people think, but it absolutely is how the majority of this government thinks. It's how the ruling party and the cabinet of this government thinks. You've got the IDF, or as Aileen and a lot of other people I know like to call it, the IOF. These are the Israeli Occupation Force, the Israeli Offensive
Mm,
Force.
yeah.
Um, a lot of them share this, and we've seen the videos of them coming out and intimidating media, intimidating individuals. We have ex-IDF soldiers who come out of service and are giving interviews now about all of the very grotesque and absolutely inhumane things that they were asked to do and did because of their training. So there's that as well. But I want to read something for you, and this is um, Netanyahu made a speech yesterday on the 28th.
Mm.
And this was his speech about the new phase of the war, and I hate calling it a war, but that's what he called it. And this is the ground assault, right? The incursion into Gaza. And he refers to Gaza as Amalek, right? Um,
What does that mean?
and and Amalek was a civilization, or a city state in biblical times. And in the book of Samuel, that's what he was referring to, and he even mentioned the book of Samuel and the story of Amalek. And that's what they need to do, is they need to go and protect the Israelites the way that they did in the book of Samuel and Amalek. I'm going to read you that verse that he's referring to. Now go and smite Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have, and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass. This is what the prime minister of Israel yesterday, less than 24 hours ago, referred to as their operation of them going into Gaza, and what their plan is: to kill every man and woman, infant and suckling, which is exactly what we're seeing. Over 2,000 dead babies and children, over 7,000, nearly 8,000 dead civilians. Did you the Al-Quds hospital today as well? They wouldn't clear. Did you see what they did?
I
They
didn't.
went in, started shooting rockets and mortars at the hospital so that people would evacuate and leave. Um, and they're saying it. And this is the thing. This is the piece that drives me a little bit fucking batshit crazy, Pej, um, is that they themselves are coming out. And when I say they, I know a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, are you talking about Jude?" No, I'm not talking about Jude. I'm saying they, as in the disgusting, grotesque, Nazi-esque government of Israel, have come out and said themselves that they are committing a genocide. He's referring to biblical passages about genocide. Not only that, on October 8th, Bibi Netanyahu comes out and says, "We will turn Gaza into an island of ruins." You know, you've got Daniel Hagari, the Israeli army spokesperson. "We're dropping hundreds of tons of bombs on Gaza. The focus is on destruction, not accuracy." The focus is not on accuracy. This is the army spokesperson who came out and said this. Now there's only one goal: Nakba, expulsion of the Palestinians, a Nakba in Gaza that will dwarf the Nakba of 1948. So the genocide and pushing out of people out of their homeland in 1948 is going to be dwarfed in comparison to what they. This is Ariel Kalner from the Likud party. I can go on. Yitzhak Herzog, Yoav Galant, all of them saying this crazy shit. And why are they saying this crazy shit? Because of the corruption that's happened in the Israeli government. In the occupation has been going on for over 75 years. The atrocities have been going on for 75 years. Let's put that aside. Why are we having this escalation right now? We're having this escalation because you've got an individual like Bibi Netanyahu who is trying to not go to jail, who is trying to save his own sorry ass for his legal problems. And he's willing to do anything he can to form a government so that he's in power. So what does he do? He gets people into the party like what's one of the Utzma Yehudit is one of the parties that he formed this coalition with, and they are a far right political party, and the actual meaning of their name is where is it here? I think it's Jewish Power is the name. So kind of like white power. It's called Jewish Power, Utzma Yehudit. Then you've got a lot of other, the Religious Zionism Party, which is again another far right, ultra nationalist, Jewish supremacist and religious Zionist political party in Israel. This is, I'm reading this off of, neutral internet sites. This isn't me trying to editorialize anything. This is how they refer to themselves
Yeah.
as an ultra right nationalistic party. And what he's done in order, because he couldn't secure enough seats for the Likud party to form government. So he's built these coalitions with parties that nobody in the past has wanted to work with. Nobody has legitimized these parties until Bibi Netanyahu has. And
But
so
doesn't
now
this
you're seeing,
sound? Yeah, doesn't that sound familiar?
yeah, absolutely it does. Absolutely it does. It sounds like the fucking Tea Party and the Trumpsters.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah,
100%.
yeah.
100%.
So yeah, it's just insert a name, but the mission is very similar. It's world domination, or regional domination that they hope to becomes world domination. Trump was trying to do the same thing. It's But it's here's the thing, man. It's like this isn't even a surprise. Like everything you just said, people, it's the way they have been till recent times. They have been interpreting these words.
Mhm.
It's it's yes, this is okay because they did it first. They being Hamas, right?
But they didn't. But
No,
that's the
but
fallacy, my friend.
but
Yeah.
no, it is. It is the
Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm saying as of the attacks that started on the 7th, right? I'm saying and the footage that some were doctored that weren't even Hamas and some were Hamas, and I'm not here sitting advocating for Hamas, by the way. Hamas is uh
Is a terrorist organization.
is
We
a
agree.
terrorist organization and they don't represent Palestinians
No.
uh the same way that many Jewish brothers and sisters of mine have said that this Israeli government does not represent them. And that's the point. They're just misusing both uh, heritages or religions to wage war, right? And that to
Yeah.
me, the only obvious distinction is one has all the guns, all the rockets and all the ammunition that the other one has to create from underground pipelines. So um, yeah, it's we have to just I think right now the what you were saying earlier on in the show that is that people are starting to realize the truth. So therefore, we have to almost know, like, already wake up every day knowing that there's evil in power, and their only goals, as having him said it himself, is to destroy Gaza and cleanse it of its people. So we just have to. That's got to be step one. We know that already. So now what do we do? And that is where we. That is, I think, where this entire sad story has to lead to next, so that we can save ourselves and save
Yeah.
humanity. So that's where I want to lead to. If you're cool with that, I want to see, like, where does it go? Like, we
So
all of
here's
this.
the thing.
Yeah.
Let me just say one thing from what you were saying. I need to just make one statement, and that's that there's this idea, and I love you, brother, but I don't know why we're going back to October 7th. This is kind of like you've got a bully of a big brother who's beating the shit out of you every day for a week. And then finally on Sunday, you decide at 6 o'clock to go and smack him upside the head after he's beat the shit out of you for a week.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden, your parents go, "Hey, Pez, you started this by smacking your brother upside the head on Sunday at 6 p.m."
Mhm.
That's the problem with saying October 7th. One. Second of all, yes, there are assholes on both sides, but the issue isn't the assholes. Yes, Hamas is in power, and Hamas, I'm willing to die on this mountain and get canceled on this mountain, and people can go and research this before they want to come and leave comments and bitch and complain. But Israel was probably, and the government in Israel was without a doubt the most influential factor in the creation and the sustainment and the growth and the power of Hamas. They did this to get rid of secular Palestinian authority. They didn't want a secular government in Palestine because they would be reasonable, because they'd be able to work with them, and they wouldn't be able to go along this line of the Palestinians just don't want a deal, because that's what they always say. We're trying to offer them what's theirs, first of all, but we're trying to offer them back something, but they just won't accept it because they're unreasonable and they want to kill us all. Well, that's why you had to prop up a group like Hamas, the same way the United States propped up Al Qaeda when they needed to, and the Taliban, and
Mhm.
created ISIS. They've done this to create that fervor and that insanity in the region, so that they can then come and take advantage of it. So that's the first thing. And the reason I'm saying that is to answer your question and to go where you want it to go. I don't see the next step being get rid of Bibi Netanyahu and get rid of the Likud party and the coalition. I don't see it as we get rid of Hamas and we do whatever. There is something inherently rotten to the root in the system that is governing that land. I'm not going to say that Israel has to go, because someone's going to, I just said it, someone's going to take that soundbite and use it for their own advantage. What I mean by that is the system of government in Israel, the system of apartheid in Israel
Mhm.
needs to go away.
Mhm.
There needs to be a secular state where all people that are living there are living in freedom, in security, hopefully the pursuit of happiness.
Mhm.
That's what we need there. And we need to cut through this bullshit in order to get there. And all of
Yes.
those sensitivities and that tribalism needs to go away. We are being spoon fed crap by colonial powers in order to accept a narrative that is just not true. And I saw this amazing video earlier today, and maybe we can, I don't know, we should share these on our Instagram and TikTok page. It's a
Yeah.
brilliant video a guy did. He's a First Nations gentleman, and he's coming up and saying, "Oh, hold on, are you telling me that that government, that colonial power that invented a whole new media and a whole new genre of movie? You saw this one, a whole new
Yeah.
genre." And he's talking about the cowboy movies or the westerns, and how they were vilifying the Aboriginals in North America to make them seem like these savages who just wanted to scalp the white man and white woman and wanted to do whatever. And he's saying, are you telling me that they're actually trying to gaslight us into believing that these oppressors are the ones that are the victims, and the victims are actually and he's absolutely right. We've read this playbook before. We've seen
Yeah.
it before. So what's the solution? you get rid of the apartheid system. And unfortunately, that apartheid system is sewn into the fabric of what is the state of Israel. And so there has to be fundamental changes to the way that country is run. I don't see a two-state solution resolving anything at this point, because they've sprinkled and peppered so many Jewish settlements within the Gaza and the West Bank territories and the Palestinian territories, that you're never going to have a two-state solution that's going to be secure. The United States, all of their diplomats have said the same thing. The presidents, all the way back to Clinton, have been saying this, even Bush, that they're working on a path to a two-state solution. They've never said that they actually want to have a two-state solution, because Israel won't accept that. They never have, and they never will accept that, because what they're looking for, what they're gunning for, is this idea of the greater Israel. And I'm not sure if you've heard about, in the States, there was Manifest Destiny, this idea that the United States had to take over parts of Mexico and Canada, and that was their destiny. Well, Israel has the same concept, and they refer to it a lot. A lot of the government officials and a lot of the cabinet members do refer to the greater Israel. And what they mean by that is the Empire of David, right? Which reached all the way over to the Tigris and the Euphrates rivers, went all the way down to the Sinai Peninsula, went up into Lebanon. That's what they want. That is what they feel needs to happen. And unfortunately, the evangelicals in the States believe the same thing. They believe that until King David's empire has been reestablished, that there are no Muslims and are no Arabs living in the land of Israel, Jesus won't come back. He's holding out. He's sitting there going, guys, I want to come to the party, but there's far too many Arabs and Muslims and brownies in that land. So get rid of them. He's going to come back.
I love
Two-thirds of
brownies.
Jews have to die, right? Because that's what it says in the Bible. Two-thirds of those that are living in the land. So first of all, you're trying to ethnically cleanse the Arabs out of there, so that you have an all Jewish empire, all Jewish land. Then you want your Messiah to come back and kill two-thirds of them. And then one-third, the smart ones, as they say, will convert and they'll be saved. And then the rapture will happen, and everything will go the way that the evangelicals want. That's why you have 75 million evangelical Zionists in the States that are really the major lobby group for Israel. They're not even Jewish, and they're not even Israeli, but their largest group that's backing everything that's going on right now are actual Christian evangelicals in the States. And they are a
Yeah.
strong fucking group.
Yeah, and I've heard about this. I've heard about the Christian Zionist groups that are I've heard this from Jewish friends of mine who studied the history and know. And one of them is a former Christian that became Jewish. And it's mind baff. It's funny that, for again, I have to preface this because even though we've already prefaced it ad nauseum, um, like you said, sound bites can be taken from this episode and just used for whatever to
Mhm.
you know to say, oh, he said some bullshit like, oh, all Jews are this or that. No, or all Muslims are this or that. Absolutely not. The whole point of this episode is to say that these things aren't representing the good people of both religions. That's what we're trying to say here. Okay. And the good people of Christian religion too, by the way, since that came up. And it's like humanity is becoming prioritized. I believe this, okay? I believe humanity is becoming prioritized over the religion that human is practicing.
Yep.
And because and this happened in Iran too. The Islamic Republic completely turned 90% of that country against religion.
Yep.
Now there's the whole revolution is because we're like, we don't want it. if that's what you call Islam, we don't want it.
Yep.
And it's the same thing here. It's no, it's just no one has chosen what religion they're born into and what location they're born at. We don't have that. None of you can come on here and vehemently prove that. And obviously, it's agreed upon. We're all born as innocent sucklings, as was mentioned earlier, or babies. And if someone is trying to kill that, It's not deeper than that. That's it. That person needs to go.
How do you cut electricity to a hospital with 45 incubators in the NICU with
They were
children in there?
they
What
had
it,
they didn't even have beds anymore. They were treating people on the
on the
disgusting
floor?
floors. Yeah.
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 So
It's
this is what it gets to, right? And you mentioned Armita, so I want to maybe spend a couple of minutes and talk about that connection and what happened there
yes,
too, and then we'll
yes.
try to get into something lighter. Actually, not even lighter because current events aren't even that light the last couple of
I
days.
know.
Um, but really, what I want to stress, because I don't want us to, we are not the experts on this. There are experts out there who can speak to this issue far better than we
Absolutely.
can.
Absolutely.
But what we're here to do is to really just give our point of view and maybe get the conversation going. And all it is that I feel is that I have no doubt that regular Israelis and Palestinians, they're the ones that are bearing the brunt of the pain for this 75 years of occupation and apartheid, right? But right now, the point that we're at is that there's a system that has to be dismantled,
Hmm.
right? Just like in South Africa, right? The apartheid system isn't salvageable. You can't say, look, we'll tweak apartheid so that it's more fair. Apartheid isn't fair. The entire system has to go to the wayside and it has to be tore down and a new country built up, like I had said before, where there's dignity, respect, and love. And religion has nothing to fucking do with it. And so we have to make sure that there's no more death for profit under this bullshit guise of religion, right?
Yeah.
Because what it does is it allows for that tribalism to take over. And this is how I'm getting into Armita. You've got the Israeli government, which you've got the Israeli government that's committing atrocities daily right now. You've got Hamas, who is trying to commit atrocities daily and did commit atrocities on October 7th. Then you've got the Islamic Republic, who's committing atrocities with their own people and wants to really cover the shit up, and also what they've been doing in the Ukraine as well, with sending the drones to Russia to use, those cheap kamikaze drones. And they're trying to cover all this shit up. So what do? Is they give Hamas the money and the power and the training and whatever they need to start this war, so that everyone there, the focus goes over there. Why? Because of Armita, because of what happened with her,
Yeah.
because they brutally on what was the date? It was the 1st of October. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was the 1st of October, or almost at the end of the month. It took a month. On the 1st of October, this baby girl, a 17-year-old baby, was on her way to school, was attacked by morality police. They're even caught on video coming back to the scene of the crime just to take a look and to see if there's cameras and if they were caught. Then they arrest the parents, they arrest the friends, they get a whole story going about what exactly happened. She fainted and hit her head on a pole or whatever. And then as soon as they saw, because we got reports out from people that we have in Iran, there's sources that we have that come back to us, and they said that she's been brain dead for a while. And we ran with that a couple weeks ago before a lot of other people did on our sites. And then this happens, and then they start leaking out, yes, she may be brain dead. Yes, she is brain dead. Yes, now she's completely dead. And her funeral was yesterday, last night, today in Iran. And if you've seen the footage, absolutely disgusting. They fenced off the whole area. There was something like, I think there was about 200 troops that were deployed, 50 of them on motorbikes. There were vans. 15 people were arrested from her family who attended the funeral. It was all just a way to shut things down. And what were they able to do is they were able to use religion to do that. These are all secular problems. These are all problems with some, you know, bullshit government that's running roughshod on the people, trying to steal and take advantage as much as they can, and they use whatever they can. In the US, they use patriotism and fear and all that other bullshit. In Iran, they use religion. In Gaza, they use religion. In Israel, they use Judaism and Jewish supremacy, and this idea of cleansing the land and whatnot. All of this stuff is being used as a tool, but we cannot be afraid to speak about it because we're afraid that we're talking about religion. Man, I will go up to anybody, and I do this often. I walk down the streets of Montreal. If anyone who lives here, you walk down St. Catharines on the weekend, you've got religious nuts up and down the street. And I will I'll I'll stop and I'll talk to them for a little while, and I'll generally piss them off before I walk away. And I don't discriminate. They could be Jewish, they could be Christian, they could be Muslim. I will stand there and I will shit on their beliefs, and I have no problem with that. I have no problem disrespecting a belief. I won't disrespect the person. And that's where I draw the line. But you know what? Some bullshit fairy tale in a book that was written, way, whether it's 2000, 3000, some people say 5000. There's parts of the Torah that were far older than that and parts that are far newer, but which then becomes the Bible, and then we know when the Quran is written.
Do you wear the straight out of Tehran hat when you're in their face? Like, yo, I'm
Have in
straight.
their face
I'm
like that.
bringing
Yeah.
this shit to you from Tehran, bro.
Yeah. No, it pisses me off. I saw this. There was a group of Muslims that were pontificating on the corner, and they were holding a sign up that said Jesus was Muslim. And I just went up to the guy and I said, dude, why? Like, why are you trying to piss people off at this point? Because really that statement does nothing but just piss people off, and that's
Yeah.
what he's trying to do. And then I got into a big argument, and my beautiful daughter, my 13-year-old, gave him a bit of a zinger as well as we were walking away, because we started talking about how the Prophet Muhammad was basically a child predator, and he had a 7-year-old wife, and all that sort of thing. And my daughter just laid into him as well. I have absolutely no respect for organized religion, and definitely not the Abrahamic religions. But as far as the people who want to believe it, that's fantastic. I will respect the people if they want to believe in that. I'll respect someone if they want to believe in the healing powers of crystals. That's okay too. But the point is that I'm not going to sit here and be afraid to talk about it or to
Yeah.
defend it.
I think the point that you're making and is that these conversations are necessary, and we have to be patient with each other's opinions to then go past that and get to the root of it all, and realize that where is our perspectives coming from, where is our research coming from, where are these conversations, why are these conversations so pivotal right now more than ever. And that's where I mean, I know you. I know you're a good person, good human being, and I vouch for you when you say that it's not personal. It's conversations that need to happen, and sometimes feelings can cloud the real discussion. I myself approach this topic a lot differently than you, but you and I have had some disagreements on this very topic in the past, but the fact that we have a podcast at the end of the day, and we have a friendship that I hope lasts till the end of the week. I I I'm just saying, like, it's we have to. This is what I was talking about, emotional intelligence. I think we're getting to a point where we're like, okay, you know what? Forget what I believe. Forget what you believe. What's left? What's real? What's
Mhm.
what's what's the essence of humanity? I didn't like I'm a Baha'i. I still attend some Baha'i events here and there. Am I a practicing Baha'i like I was in my 20s? Absolutely not. I Am I against the Baha'i religion? No, that's not true either. I just decide to be human first. That's the biggest difference. And I'm not saying that Baha'is don't do that. I'm not saying that other religious people don't do that. Some do that. I just think that number is starting to tilt towards humanity more and more every day. With every crime against humanity Netanyahu does, that Biden does, that Trudeau does, that Khamenei does, that is making what we are hoping for more possible,
Yeah.
because kill an innocent adolescent and you'll get people to listen. You'll get people to really be clear minded as to what is right and what is wrong. And right now, everything happening in most of the world right now, not now we can talk about the whole world as a
Mhm.
whole. Atrocities are happening. They're just labeling them as different fuels. It's the same shit, guys. Okay, they can call it Islamic Republic. It's not Islamic, because I know hundreds of thousands of uh, good human beings that happen to be Muslim, but they never put that in my face. They never say, uh, by the way, in the Quran it says this and that, and you should do. They never go there. And I
Yeah.
like to think I don't do that either. Now, and then of course I'm not naive. I know there are people who do that, like on the streets that you said. There was some of that in Old Sacramento. It's the same thing. It's like repent or go to hell or some shit like that. It's like, okay, cool, dude. Uh,
Yeah.
I think we're already in hell. If you want the truth, this is already hell, in my opinion. But ultimately, it's good versus evil. That's where it boils down to. If you see something and you're either shocked or disgusted, it's because it's going against humanity, and that's your humanity talking. So that's it. We're not here giving advice. We're not any. The two of us are just a regular Joes. His Mo actually, not Joe. But we're just talking about real shit as two human beings. That's it. Mo had a
Yeah.
complete different upbringing than I did, and none of that matters because we're human beings.
Yeah.
And when we try to complicate it, that's when it becomes complicated. It doesn't need to be.
Yeah.
Look, you are enough.
Nice.
I didn't pay $35.99 for nothing, guys. Support this shit, okay? I can't even show it. God. All right.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
see it. I see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're enough. All right. That's
Yeah.
not for you, but for those things behind you.
Yeah.
Okay. On a unrelated, but to me also not so, also somber, is that one of my childhood heroes uh, passed away yesterday. Matthew Perry. Uh, I
It was a rough one, right?
It was rough, man. Because first of all, 54,
Yeah.
and I know we just talked about dead babies, and I'm talking about age. 54 should feel young to go. Okay, that's what my point is in that. And doesn't matter that he was my hero. It doesn't matter that he was a celebrity. He was a person that was dealing with his own demons.
Yeah.
The speculations are coming in, and again, just like any shocking news that hits the net, people start just adding their own shit to it, and then it's the truth ends up being harder and harder to decipher. But what has been confirmed is that he was found, he was drowned. He had drowned. So we don't know why. At least I haven't found anything new to substantiate it. But
No.
but it's just sad. He was like I learned a lot as a comic, physical comedy from him, and his timing
Hmm.
was, to me, was incredible.
Spot
I mean,
on, right?
spot
Yeah.
on. You know, I don't even like saying that he was Matthew Perry. I'm seeing a lot of this online, and it kind of bothers me. He's like, oh, Chandler is gone. No, don't call him that was a character, man. That's
Yeah.
not like, he's played many other roles, and I know that Chandler was a very popularized character, like Steve Urkel was, like the Will Smith and Fresh Prince was. Like, I get it. These were evergreen characters, but I think that dehumanizes the situation again, man.
It
There's a
does.
person behind these names that you and myself, I looked up to that character Chandler being. Yes, I'm not sitting here saying Chandler wasn't hilarious as a character, but the person that made that happen was Matthew Perry. And this is simple shit I feel like we're talking about, but I feel like it's been normalized to just not think that this person has a family now that's mourning. This person had children. This person, you know,
He didn't though, right?
did he not have
I
children?
this is the thing. I look whenever I see these and I kind of go, well, how much do I know about the individual, right? And I want to learn a little bit more about them.
Okay,
And
see,
he
good
was a
thing you,
troubled soul, right? He
yeah.
was a troubled soul. He
He
was
had
dealing with
addictions. Yeah, he had
he had
addictions.
addictions. Alcoholism, I think, was his biggest demon.
Yeah.
He also had a couple. He had an eating disorder as well. So there were a couple conditions that were
Yeah.
that were kind of weighing on him. No children,
Wow, I didn't
never
know that.
married, never married. He proposed 3 years ago, or yeah, 2020. He proposed to I think it was his agent that they were dating for a couple years, but that never
Oh,
went anywhere either.
materials.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so this person who brought so much joy. I remember myself, like I've talked about this before. I've gotten heat for this before. That I lived in Iran for 3 years in my early 20s, and I was teaching English while I was
Mhm.
there. One of the things I brought with me when I wanted to open my institute and teach was a binder. Like this is back in the day. I'm old, right? So he is 54 when he died. I was 45. So when I saw that, I saw it inverted, and I was like, "Oh my God, what's happening? Am I going to die in 9 years?" But when I
Wow.
went down there, I'm kind of aging myself, but I had a big binder full of DVDs. There were like 200 DVDs in
Yeah.
a thing, and I took this to Iran because obviously,
Yeah.
this is back in like the early 2000s, so there wasn't a lot of access to very much. And I would use those DVDs in my classes with my students for like conversation classes, and they're listening and that sort of thing. And all 10 seasons of Friends I had taken with me. And during the 3 years that I was in Iran, I probably rewatched the series at least 4 times.
Yeah.
And those characters were our friends, right? Like
Yeah.
we felt that with them. And so when we saw him pass, it hit us. I think it hit me a little bit hard because of that connection that
Yeah.
we had with that character, but also knowing that he brought so much joy into our lives, but was such a tortured soul because
Hmm.
of what he was going through. And we've seen a lot of these. Robin Williams, another one of my absolute fucking heroes. Love the man, right?
Yeah. Gone too
Absolutely love
soon.
it. Was
Yeah.
one of the people that I always said I want to meet him at least once, right?
Right.
Never happened. And a lot of times there are these tortured souls.
Yeah. No,
Uh,
it's true. It's true. It's true. And I know we want to wrap up, but
yeah.
it's it's he's not going to be forgotten. He's a heroic actor and human being. Um, just I think the lesson that I learned from situations like this is um, never assume a thing, man. Don't assume anything. I just did it. I was guilty of assuming that he had kids, and I thank you for correcting me on
Mhm.
that. You know, I love being wrong because that means I'm going to learn something, and I think that is okay. It's okay to have make mistakes. Don't judge people. Be curious. We talked about this on the part one of the
Yeah.
alien episode. Um, yeah, man. Just approach people with curiosity. Approach people with sensitivity. Approach people with kindness. You don't know what they're going through, um, and we are accustomed as a society to place people in boxes, and it's not. It can actually be do a lot of harm to
Mhm.
someone's mental health, and just know that you're
Absolutely.
enough, and at the same time, uh, love is what's missing right now, man. Love is what everyone's thirsting for. uh Rest easy, Matthew Perry. I looked up to you. I continue to look up to your amazing skills as an actor, and I'm sorry to family that you did have, and hopefully, we can learn about the details behind this. um I know Mo needs to go eat. But this was part two of the Aileen episode. Please subscribe to our channel and comment. We want to have conversations with you guys. We want to, um, and the Aileen being a guest on this podcast, we don't want that to be a one off. We're hoping to have more
Next
conversations.
week or next episode,
Yeah.
who I think you've already lined up our next guest,
Yes,
right?
yes, and yeah. Without spoiling it too much, I do want to confirm it with him, but
Okay.
yeah, absolutely. We have as a result of this podcast, and if we get even one or two people to vibe with what we're trying to do here, to me that's worth the world, because that's the point, is connections made from literally sharing our feelings on things, and sharing love. And if that can become infectious, then spread my virus everywhere, you know what I mean? um but yeah, so the day of this recording is the 29th of October. Happy Halloween, by the way, to everyone.
Yeah.
Enjoy the festivities. My favorite holiday. I'd rather have two Halloweens and say fuck off to Thanksgiving.
Yes.
I care very little about that holiday. I don't even like the food. Um, I want to go on a mission to like steal the turkeys that are about to be mutilated and let them free.
Do you have a
They make
costume? Do you have a costume for Tuesday? This
I'm
is your
wearing my
costume?
yeah, I'm wearing it. I'm straight edge today. No, no, yeah. I might. I know that I don't know if the school I work at allows costumes, but I'll have to check, and maybe I'll just show up as a. I might just show up as Kamine. Who knows?
Yeah, that'll go over really well. I was gonna say.
But then I'll just kill myself. That would be the pun.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. All right. On that note, enjoy the Halloween festivities. Don't eat too much candy or go immediately for a dental cleaning. Um, this has been, I guess, episode 3 technically, but it's part 2 of episode 2. Um, I'm Pej.
I'm Mo.
This is a TBA podcast. We'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks a lot, guys.